Hi everyone, welcome to another travel vlog, and this time it's the first day of our Holy Land tour, and we're going to Masada National Park and the famous Dead Sea. Oh, my joyful and grateful heart. Our day started early at 8 a.m. The Click Tours bus picked us up at our hotel in Tel Aviv, and we're on our way to Jerusalem. And our first stop is the Masada National Park. We will be staying in Jerusalem for a couple of nights. We're now passing by the Judean Desert, and this signals that we are nearing the Masada National Park. This is it. A lot of history in this place, and I'll tell you more about it later. Okay, we're getting in. This is the entrance area. All right, and now we have we're entering in. We're going into the building, and this is spacious and airy. And this one here is the replica of the Masada, like right here. This is how it looks up there in the mountains. We are now on the second floor, where we have to watch a movie, a short movie about the Masada history before we're going to the mountains, to the park. And a lot of information here on the wall regarding the history of Masada, and I love this art here, painting here on the wall, huge one. Very nice. Now we're ready to ride the cable car to go to the park. Oh, we're all excited. We can't contain ourselves. Here we go. We're ready to get in. The Masada National Park is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Masada is an ancient fortress in southern Israel near Judean Desert. It's on a massive plateau overlooking the Dead Sea. A cable car and a long winding path climb up to the fortifications that was built around 30 BC. Here we are, we're almost there. Cable cars reaching its docking area. This is the view as soon as you get off the cable car. Wow, there's a lot of people walking instead of riding the cable car. That's a long walk. Wow, give them credit. So now we're going to this bridge, passing this bridge to get to the park. We're getting inside the park. That was the gate. Here we go. Not a lot of people, which is good. I heard from our tourist guide said that sometimes a long wait because a lot of people. There's still not a lot of tourists coming into Israel. So here we go, we're going in. This is the park now. Wow, look at this. This is where all the story of braveness and courage and freedom, all for God. Let's hear about the story of Masada, why it's so iconic and famous, for what it stands for. According to Josephus, a Jewish Roman historian, Herod built a large fortress as a refuge for himself in the event of a revolt and erected these two palaces. The fortress contained storehouses, barracks, an armory, a palace, cisterns that were refilled by rainwater. 3 narrow winding paths led from below up to fortified gates. The construction of Masada lasted from 37 to 31 BC. Why is Masada important to Israel? Masada is not only important because it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, or it's an ancient fortress occupying a breathtaking strategic location high in a mountains above the Dead Sea, but because of its symbolic importance of determination and heroism, which continues to this day with many Israeli soldiers sworn in here. Every school child in Israel knows the story of how Jewish heroes revolted against the pagan Romans, holed up in the desert fortress of Masada, and opted for mass suicide, killing themselves and their families over capture and humiliation by emperor forces. There is an entrance fee to get in, $31 for adult, $17 for a child, $26 for adult in group, and $14 for child in group. Like I said, there is an option to ride a cable car to get to the park, or you can hike. There are 2 hiking paths, both very steep, so you really have to be careful and you have enough the right gears and food and water. We saw a lot of people walking. I give them credit because, like I said, it's steep and huge, and it's hot in the desert, so you really have to have your sunglasses, water, and then hat, and right walking shoes and all, and be careful. Hikers frequently start an hour before sunrise when the park opens to avoid the midday heat, which can exceed more than 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer. In fact, the hiking paths are often closed during the day in the summer because of the heat. In 2015, a 20-year-old American tourist became separated from her group and went off the marked trail. An hour-and-a-half search, she was found unresponsive and suffering from dehydration. After failed attempts to resuscitate, she is declared dead on the scene. So be careful if you're going there and you'll be hiking, and drink a lot of water or bring a lot of water, because the heat can really do damage. According to the historian Josephus, when Roman troops entered the fortress, discovered that its defenders had set all the buildings with the food storms ablaze and committed mass suicide, killed each other, 960 men, women, and children in total. Masada was last occupied during the Byzantine period when a small church was established at the site. The church was part of a monastic settlement.
Not enough rain to refill that use. This is not it's not coming out from nature. It's coming out from the Jordan. Israel is using the same thing.
The seeds of Masada is often revered in modern Israel as a symbol of Jewish heroism. Masada became a symbol for a heroic last stand for the state of Israel and played a major role for Israel in forging national identity. To Israel, it symbolized the courage of the warriors of Masada, the strength they showed when they were able to keep hold of Masada for almost 3 years, and their choice of death over slavery in their struggle against an aggressive empire. Masada has become the performance space of national heritage, the site of military ceremonies in Israel. Despite the controversies, for me, I am in awe of its history and the determination and the passion of the people to fight for what they believe, and also in awe on how they built this place. This is just amazing. It's huge. Without all the modern equipment, it's just plainly amazing. Next up for the day is the Qumran National Park, located in the West Bank. The Qumran site is best known as a settlement nearest to the Qumran caves, where the Dead Sea Scrolls were hidden. Since the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls, extensive excavations have taken place in this site. Nearly 900 scrolls were discovered. Many scholars believe that location was home to a Jewish sect, probably the Essenes, and some says it's heavy stress on priesthood and other settlements or groupings, and others said that it was later transformed into a villa for a wealthy family, or was a production center, perhaps a pottery factory or something similar. The most prized find at Qumran up to this time were 3 small juglets containing over 500 silver coins which were found in a room on the west side of the monastery. The discovery of this site showed two main sections, a main building, a square structure of 2 stories, featuring a central courtyard and a defensive tower on its northwestern corner, also a secondary building to the west. Many scholars have viewed the several large step cisterns at Qumran as ritual bath. This supports the religious settlement model of this area. Recent scientific evidence published demonstrates that the ink from the Thanksgiving scroll uses water taken from the Dead Sea and vicinity, thereby demonstrating a link between the Dead Sea region and at least some of the scrolls. And what a way to end our day, a visit to the Dead Sea. Oh, I'm so excited. Now here we go. I'm so excited. We're going into the beach area. The Dead Sea is a salt lake bordered by Jordan to the east and Israel and the West Bank to the west. The lake's surface is 430.5 meters below sea level, making its shores the lowest land-based elevation on Earth. Wow. It's at the beach, and here are safety instructions that will or can save your life, so it's important to adhere to these instructions. What makes it a Dead Sea? Ages ago, a saltwater lagoon was connected to the Mediterranean Sea. The movement of the African and Arabian plates shifted the land between the Dead Sea and the Mediterranean rose. Consequently, this cut off the ocean water supply for the Dead Sea, thus leaving it landlocked. Besides some microorganisms and algae, the saltwater lake is completely devoid of life. The Dead Sea is located in a low-lying desert. The water that collects in the Dead Sea evaporates more quickly than water in the open ocean, leaving vast quantities of salt behind. That's why the water is very salty. The Dead Sea is famous for the water's mysteriously buoyant qualities, which allow people to float across the top of the water without needing to swim. So I cannot wait. I am going to experience and do all of that. I have to get into the water and try to float and put mud all over my body, like what everyone comes and visits. The Dead Sea is mentioned in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, where it said that a war occurred among several kings in the region of the Dead Sea. In the scripture, the Dead Sea is referred to as the Valley of Siddim, otherwise known as the Salt Sea. It is said that the high salt and mineral content of the Dead Sea mean that this body of water has powerful healing properties. The Dead Sea Scrolls that were discovered in Qumran in the late 1940s were called the greatest archaeological discovery of the 20th century. The most famous of the scrolls is said to be that of the book of Isaiah. Goodbye, Dead Sea. It was one amazing, unforgettable experience. To celebrate our first day of tour, we experienced Jerusalem at night and saw this beautiful lighted cord bridge in the middle of Jerusalem. We went to find a place to eat and ended up here at the Take a Walk restaurant. Really delicious noodles. And the beer was good too. We also rode a train. Watch out for that video next week. Fun and spontaneous, the best thing. Thank you for watching. Be kind, be loving, and be inspired. Till the next video. Bye-bye.